From last week, and if there's a motion to adopt those, we will consider that.
So moved, Mr. Chair.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Okay, minutes are adopted. Item number 1 of new business, disbursement from District 1 improvement funds. Councilman Wilson.
Yes, sir, Mr. Chair. I would like to use $500 of my district funds to go to the detention center in Tuscaloosa, and I ask that for some things that the staff and young people may need there.
Are there any questions or comments?
Motion approved.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Okay, disbursement is approved or forwarded to council. Item number 2, disbursement from District 4 improvement funds. That's me. I am requesting $5,000 out of my district improvement funds to provide to the historic Tuscaloosa, which maintains our historic structures here in Tuscaloosa. They had a gathering this past week, and it's just very impressive. The work they're doing, I'm glad to help. That the historic element of my district is a key to the district.
Motion approved.
Second.
All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Item is approved. Might give me a drum roll. Now the biggie, capital projects budget proposal presentation. Mayor Maddox, welcome.
Yes, sir. Thank you, Mr. Chairman, and I appreciate the council moving the location of its meeting down to, as Mr. Busby said, the big house. So we're certainly glad to be down here today because we knew that we would have several people throughout the community that would be very interested in the recommendations that are going to be made in the next few minutes. And if I could get it's in here, okay? Before I get started with the presentation itself, I want to thank our extraordinary team members who frankly are the best of the best at the city of Tuscaloosa. Today is a culmination of 6 months of work, and so it doesn't get here by accident. I have a long history of taking credit for amazing work of our team members, and today is no exception to that. And so I'm certainly proud, and I don't ever take for granted the honor of representing the incredible excellence that is with our team members. And so I'm proud to make this recommendation to you today. We have the overarching theme that I think you will see woven through the thread of this recommendation is to be safe, strong, and certainly continue our responsibility to the taxpayers of Tuscaloosa. I think the first thing, and to me probably the most exciting thing, is a validation of how we do business here at the city of Tuscaloosa. Today we are announcing the largest general fund surplus in the history of the city, nearly $21 million. We are thrilled that we've been able to do this for the taxpayers of this city. 78% of that surplus came from the revenue side of us conservatively budgeting our revenues for the most part based off prior year, and 22% coming from the expenditure side. That's extraordinary considering in 23 we had incredible increases in pricing just because of inflation. And our department heads, along with the oversight of accounting and finance, made that possible. So today is a day of celebration because we will take this surplus, as you will see in your upcoming budget hearings, dedicate a portion of that into overall reserves, while at the same time reinvesting a significant portion of that into things such as our infrastructure, public safety, and overall quality of life. Now, we do focus this first slide on general fund, surplus, which will be transferred into our reserve fund for future improvement. But throughout this recommendation, you will see other funding sources like the Alabama gas tax, trust fund, water and sewer bond proceeds, et cetera. And we will do our best during this presentation to break that out for you. So let me go through some large buckets, and then we will get into the individual recommendations. The total amount that will go that's being recommended into public safety is $7.1 million in capital projects for fire and police, $19.9 million into infrastructure, $3 million into our own assets here at the city of Tuscaloosa, and $8.3 million into quality of life. And speaking of quality of life, I think probably the most significant project that's going to be recommended that's going to, in the short term, impact the quality of life is an extraordinary partnership that we have developed in recent months with Kentuck. And so I want to be able to share with you a video of what we're going to be recommending and discussing with you in the weeks ahead. So this brief video gives you a conceptual idea of what we are proposing to the City Council. Before I go into some brief details, I want to thank Exa Skinner and Amy Eccles for being here. The city has created in the last few months an unbelievable energy and synergy between the two organizations. Kentuck is nationally known, world-renowned for what they do in terms of arts. The partnership that we have been able to strike on the festival has opened up opportunities that we believe can expand elsewhere. And we believe the best place for that expansion would be Queen City Park. We are proposing to the City Council a public-private partnership. It would be to expand programming that Kentuck is currently doing, to host events centered around the Kentuck brand and additional workshops for our entire community. If adopted, just think what a statement it makes that our riverfront would be branded with Kentuck. You know, when we passed Elevate in 2019, I know Ms. Howard was a part of those brave group of council members that made that happen. One of the things we talked about was finding that investment in the arts. You know, this is the opportunity we were hoping for when we passed Elevate. We certainly didn't know this would come, but we were hoping something like it would. And so it really is an honor today to make this recommendation to you. This is the type of investment that not only improves your quality of life, it helps you attract people to Tuscaloosa or keep them here. And we know that recruiting and retaining the people of this community and a workforce is essential for our economic growth. So what are we recommending? $1.4 million in professional service fees, plus to close out the current contract with the Mildred Warner Museum, and then $10 million in the fiscal 26 bond issue. There will also be a financial benefit to the city as well. Right now, we're paying $157,000 a year in operating cost at the Mildred Warner Transportation Museum. We would be able then to remove that annual operation cost in the future because Kentuck would be operating the facility itself. We look forward to the opportunity to engage more with the council, but again, when you can strike a public-private partnership with an organization like Kentuck, it's a good day for the people of Tuscaloosa. So next, I want to turn my attention to public safety. 4 years ago, the city created a Tuscaloosa Fire and Rescue, it's been a long day, Rescue Fleet Service Officer. The goal at the time was to keep our trucks in service. As you know, we have 13 stations across the city of Tuscaloosa. To move a truck from point A into our fleet center takes time, and oftentimes, based off availability, could leave a truck in the fleet service center for 1 or 2 days, which we just did not feel that was acceptable. So that program has been very, very successful for Tuscaloosa Fire and Rescue. We are keeping more trucks in service. We hear positive feedback from the men on the line, and we know that what we're doing is working. We also know that fire and rescue has to compete with 1,500 other vehicles within our fleet at the city of Tuscaloosa, plus 1,000 other pieces of equipment that are serviced by our fleet maintenance department. By the way, that does not include TPD's own fleet maintenance that we have at the city of Tuscaloosa. So what we are recommending to the city council is that we invest $2 million in a TFR fleet center that will be placed at the current logistics center off of Calusa Avenue. We are recommending $1,097,000 from the general fund RFFI, $157,000 from ARPA, and $745,000 from traffic light running proceeds. Now, this certainly has a benefit to TFR. One pumper truck like you see there, in today's dollars, is about $1 million, $970,000. The other thing is that it would take 2 to 3 years for that truck to be delivered. Let me say that again, it would take 2 to 3 years for that truck to be delivered. A ladder truck is around $2.1 million. It would take between 3 to 4 years to have that truck delivered. Increasing our maintenance, increasing our preventive maintenance is absolutely key. If we can move a truck in service from 20 years to 25 or 25 to 30, that has huge benefits to the city of Tuscaloosa, and we think it's very important that the council give this consideration. It's also important for Public Works. As I mentioned earlier, this would clear up about 20% of their capability at Public Works today. So it would give us more time with our knuckle booms, our front loaders, and our other pieces of heavy equipment and vehicles that are out in operation at the city of Tuscaloosa. The next recommendation we have is that the city put down $2 million towards the $4 million remaining debt on Fire Station 6. As you know, we have a significant amount of debt roll-off that's coming in fiscal year 27 to help us pay for RSA conversion. We would like to clear this as part of our plan to move to RSA, and hopefully by the time we get to fiscal year 27, that if the council adopts this, the other $2 million is taken off the debt rolls. We're recommending $1.5 million to continue our take-home vehicles for patrol officers. We've been able to provide patrol vehicles for every patrol officer, but as you know, those cars get a lot of miles on them very quickly. And so just replacing those cars each and every year is about a $1.5 million price tag. This would keep that program going.
And Mayor, that entire amount is anticipated to come out of the traffic light proceeds?
Yes, sir. We are recommending $1 million in security enhancements across city facilities. That's certainly something we would not talk about in open session. I have asked Brendan Moore, who is heading that effort, along with Captain Chronister with TPD. The two of them are jointly improving facility security across not just City Hall campus, but our plants and other facilities, to discuss that with you in private. We want to continue to make this place safe for our constituents, for our employees that work here, but it certainly is going to require us to make additional investments beyond what is already in place. We're recommending $500,000 in continuing our expansion of public safety cameras and the replacement of cameras themselves. It's been no doubt that Corey Burns and the work of our cyber intelligence department is making a huge difference in reducing crime. We want to continue to work with IT and TPD in expanding that program. This gives us the resources to be able to expand, but also replace when we have our system, when it's needed within the overall system. We also are recommending $100,000 to just update the system at the police firing range. I know, Mr. Busby, you're very familiar with that. And another $75,000 just in streetlight improvements. We currently have $16,000 remaining in this fund. It's a perpetual fund. We want to replenish it for the year with an additional $75,000. So before I go on with infrastructure, I left out at the beginning of my remarks, the council can actually, and the public as well, this presentation is at Tuscaloosa.com/24 capital budget. So Tuscaloosa.com/24 capital budget. Now I want to turn to infrastructure. As you see, we have a robust list of projects both in the 22B, and then you'll see in a second in the 24 bond issue. The first two that you see, the Mercedes water tank improvements, $120,000 for engineering, along with nearly $1.3 million. This is to blast and apply protective coating to the Mercedes plant on all surfaces, external and internal, to the tank. So that is a needed project in our system. We work very hard to try to do this to a tank each year within our water distribution system. We are also recommending the next two that you see, a partnership with Citizens Water Authority regarding the engineering and ultimately tie-in into interconnection within our system to create redundancy, and also to, when the Mercedes tank is out of service, to ensure that Mercedes, who is one of our largest employers, one of our largest economic engines in Tuscaloosa County, has the water they need so that people's jobs stay safe. We're including $200,000 in engineering in Mr. Fell's district to continue to improve our water system on Buttermilk Road. You see other projects that are listed there that we will certainly be going over with you during the individual budget hearings. I do want to turn your attention to the 24 water and sewer bond issue. This is part of the 10-year plan that the council adopted 3 years ago. The first two projects are really interconnected in terms of dealing with the amount of growth we see in North Tuscaloosa. The first project is the Northern Water and Sewer Line expansion for $11 million. This includes a regional sewer pump station, extension of gravity sewer, and extension of large diameter water mains. The second is and these go in tandem, is $10 million to accommodate the future growth for the plot plant, to handle that future growth in terms of water treatment. We're asking for $10 million to continue our upgrades to AMI, which have been extremely successful. This smart meter infrastructure truly has upgraded our customer service ability and our ability, frankly, to ensure that we are giving the customers the most accurate reading each and every month. We're including $4 million for lift station 15 and 42. I know, Mr. Fell, that's something you worked extremely hard on to improve the performance of those lift stations. $2.2 million to replacement of deteriorating lines on the 22 force main replacement and water characterization project. This is a 1.5-mile scope of that project. Raw water line assessment and rehab for $2.5 million is another significant project as part of this bond issue. Let me go to the next slide. We're asking for $5 million for the lagoon repairs phase 1. This is maintenance of the wastewater lagoons, with primary component being the removal of the solids to restore our 10-acre ponds out there at Fletcher. And then $12 million for plant upgrades to improve hydraulic and process capabilities to accommodate the future growth of Tuscaloosa. There are other projects that are in there that I know that you'll go in more detail. The other important part is we're asking to hold back $5.1 million, just understanding that there will be market changes and scope changes as we proceed with those projects. We're recommending $6.675 million in paving and resurfacing. Of that $6.6 million, $2.1 million would come from gas tax funds, $402,000 from Alabama Trust Fund, $3.4 million from the General Fund RFFI, and we're asking for a set-aside paving project to complete the paving that's been done on Jack Warner Parkway. That would be from Highway 82 Bridge to Mars Spring for $650,000. We're asking for $950,000 to go towards our fiber optic network upgrades and expansion. You have seen firsthand the work that IT has done working with cyber intelligence in improving our fiber, improving our network, so it can be used for multiple things, from keeping us safe to ensuring that city operations meet our standard of excellence. We are recommending $3.5 million in road construction projects. The most significant and important one is going to be the Stillman Boulevard Bridge project. This project is for, if you recognize, I know you recognize this over here. This is the TDOT campus here. So this bridge lifespan is between 5 to 10 years at this point. It's safe, but we do know that we need to begin preparing for this bridge to be replaced.
That's right.
We would like to go ahead and get the engineering performed and then utilize that engineering to go after the BIL grants that exist for projects such as these bridge replacements. Right now, it's too early to put a cost estimate, but certainly it's going to be a project that's going to be above 10 million, if not higher. And we would like to go ahead and get that engineering done, knowing that it's time to move forward with that project. Mike and his team, Mr. Gardner and his team will provide you more information when we cover that in the work session. We're recommending that we put $500,000 towards engineering and possibly some right-of-way acquisition, adding a turn lane on Hargrove Road if you're going east on Hargrove Road and wanting to turn south onto Highway 82. And then a project that you've already been briefed at projects is going ahead and budgeting the Hackberry Lane improvements, which is a joint project with the University of Alabama. We also are recommending $350,000 to put an additional left turn lane off of 297 onto Jack Warner to continue to help with traffic in the North Tuscaloosa area. A lot of that traffic is Mercedes-oriented, of people going to Mercedes to work, and there are certain points during the day where we have traffic backups. We want to continue, ask the council to continue with the McWrights Ferry Road communication plan and add to that the upcoming MLK Jack Warner Parkway project. We anticipate the cost of that being $200,000. Dr. Rush is not here today, but I must give his team an incredible amount of credit for the communications plan they've put in place for McWrights Ferry Road. I'm proud of that work. Here's the only problem. Now we're going to have to do it for every major road project in the city, and I know Mr. Tyner's looking at me about University Boulevard East. So I imagine that will be coming too. That makes me proud when the city does something that is innovative, that's forward-leaning, and yes, we may have to keep doing it in the future, but that's what our constituents deserve. And then $500,000 is put in place for sidewalks on Ash Street. I know this is something Ms. Howard has talked about, and we would like to see that in connection with the construction of both the Benjamin Barnes Branch YMCA and Calton Park. We're recommending $1.8 million in drainage. So speaking of Calton Park, there is drainage work that, as we've done the park work, we've realized that there's some drainage improvements that can be done while we're under construction that we would like to go ahead and get done while we're out in the field, and likely could secure some better pricing at $500,000. We're asking the council to add $500,000 to the neighborhood drainage fund, add $250,000 to the CMP lining program, create a new drainage project for Cypress Creek at $175,000, invest in a Exit 73 floodway mitigation visibility study for $75,000. This is the area of O'Charlie's in Best Western. As you know, in the past, we've had some pretty significant flooding. There's been a lot of work done over the years by the city and by ALDOT. We think that the new flood maps will show that this area is more open for redevelopment. And certainly, if things continue to move forward with the old McFarland Mall site, we want to make certain this site, too, is ready to take advantage of it. Getting those map revisions would be key. Next is a project I know is dear to Mr. Fell, and that is getting the engineering started on the Eastover drainage project. Go ahead and begin to get the engineering, get an idea of what the cost estimate, and hopefully come back in the next year or two and be ready to move forward with that project. We're recommending that we have two parts of this recommendation. First are the 3 years of commitment on the runway extension. As you're aware, we're extending our runway well over 1,000 feet as we continue to progress at Tuscaloosa National Airport. Jeff Powell, who we all know well, he's an extraordinary leader, and he's done an extraordinary job in making this happen. We're recommending $705,000 in '24, $2.4 million in '25, and $200,000 in '26, with Elevate being the funding source. We're also recommending, and this has been in the budget for time and eternity, is to $250,000 to give Jeff the seed money to go after small FAA grants that exist throughout the year that help us continue to improve Tuscaloosa National Airport. Want to turn to asset management. We have $775,000 in this budget for equipment. Now, we normally put a large portion of equipment in our operating budgets, but as I mentioned earlier, there are severe time lags on vehicles right now in the marketplace. And especially as it relates to ESD, Mr. Meggs, and I can't say enough about him and John Smith and what they've done in leading ESD. They have some immediate needs, and knowing it could be a year before or longer before this comes in, we would like to go ahead and make those purchases. So one ESD side loader at $375,000 and one ESD rear loader, which is you see an example in the picture here, at $250,000. We also are in need of 3 half-ton trucks within inspections. Ashley Kreitz has worked them so hard that their trucks now are just quitting on them. So if she's doing that, I think we can go ahead and meet her where she needs to be with that. But we do think in all seriousness that we need to move forward with those vehicles. We're recommending $2.2 million to the construction facilities grounds 5-year plan. This includes everything from access to City Hall, to the ability to attend public meetings, to just ensuring customer service. We think about this facility when we talk about City Hall, but it really applies to all of our facilities across Tuscaloosa. But when we think of this campus, it frankly was never put together with customer service in mind, maybe besides Annex 3. But this building we're in today was built more than 110 years ago. Annex 1 was built in the late 80s. Annex 2 was built in the late 2000s. And so weaving all that together for our customers is difficult, and we certainly want to do our best to make the experience here at City Hall customer-friendly for those that come and transact business with us. So quality of life, I've already touched on one major quality of life project, and that's the Kentuck at Queen City, but do want to touch on a couple of others. We're recommending in the fiscal 26 bond issue $13 million out of Elevate for terminal either revitalization or renovation or a new terminal altogether. We are going after a grant through the BIL to hopefully get a match of somewhere around $6 million. So that we are going to continue to see if we can't be competitive. We hope the fact that we are asking for the significant amount of funding increases our likelihood of being able to acquire that federal grant. If we are going to be an airport of choice, if we're going to be an airport that can be a logistical hub, but also at the same time potentially attract commercial, either a renovated, modernized terminal or a new terminal is going to be a need and not a want. Next is Northern Riverwalk Phase 2. The picture that you see here, of course, you've got the vehicle bridge right here. This is the pedestrian bridge that is currently under construction. Right now, the Northern Riverwalk ends at the Randall Family Park. We are recommending to the City Council we extend the Riverwalk from Randall Family Park all the way to this pedestrian bridge, which would wrap around here and then go all the way back down the Northern Riverwalk. To do this, we're recommending $750,000 in '24, $250,000 in '25, and then include the construction of the Riverwalk itself for $10 million in fiscal year '26. As I was mentioning to a couple of team members yesterday, although you can't see it because you're off screen, is if you move up here to Watermelon Road and McWright's Ferry Road, which would be top of your screen here, if ALDOT truly is able to construct the Woolsey-Fennell Bridge by, they say, 2028, but let's give a little grace and say by 2030. By 2030, you'll be able to go from Watermelon Road, McWright's Ferry Road, all the way down and across, all the way down to Randall Family Park, take the loop onto Woolsey-Fennell Bridge, and then go all the way down our river walk to the Corps of Engineers Park. About 9.5 miles without ever hitting the road.
That's right.
There are not many cities in the United States that can claim that type of river walk and bicycle and pedestrian access. That is something that I hope all of you are very proud of. I know I am, to be part of that. The next thing that we're extremely proud of is an emerging partnership with Focus. We have been working with the leadership team, and we have several members of their leadership team here today regarding creating a new partnership and elevating the gateway itself. Thanks to Mr. Tyner's work post-tornado, we were able to construct through tornado disaster recovery funds the gateway, which has been a technology-rich center for the people of Alberta and East Tuscaloosa. As we thought about what should the 2.0 be and what the City Council has already started on, we quickly realized, looking at the demographic data, looking at where Focus members are located, this is an opportunity to create a partnership with Focus. And so at this point, we don't have a specific recommendation in terms of dollar values, but I do feel very confident that in the near future, we're going to be able to create something that's going to be outstanding for Focus. It's going to be outstanding for Para and outstanding for the city of Tuscaloosa. And Mr. Tyner, I want to thank you for all your help. I know you've been part of these meetings with it. And hopefully in the near future, we can get that across the finish line. And we look forward to discussing that in more detail with you in the weeks ahead. The next project that I know is important it's important to all of us, because I think all these parks, they belong to all of us. But I know for Mr. Fell and Mr. Lanier's Bowers Park, we're recommending $2 million in the 2024 to begin into the final design of the Bowers Park project. We're recommending $3.6 million for the Elevate bond issue in 25. And I know we have people here today from the Tuscaloosa County Pickleball Association here. So the first tranche of $3.6 million would go to build 23 pickleball courts that are pictured here, if you see in that red square. So we would go ahead and move forward with that. It would also pay for the shade pavilions that you see pictured, along with restrooms. So this would be our first really major pickleball investment in the city of Tuscaloosa. And we think it will, we certainly, the fact that you have a large number of people here today and the growing expansion of the sport, I think it is time. And we have heard loud and clear. And we have no doubt that they are going to do an outstanding job of ensuring that it's utilized. Once constructed, Para will maintain and operate the pickleball courts. So we will invest the capital, and Para will invest on the operating side. Again, we're extremely excited about that. We would like this project to go pretty quickly. This is on the old tennis court site, and so instead of having it wait to get through final design, we would rather move this project and get it going. And I think my friends from the Pickleball Association would absolutely agree we do that. We are recommending $750,000 for new LED screens at the Tuscaloosa Amphitheater. These are the screens that you see on the sides. The LED screens are an amazing amenity to our amphitheater, but certainly do need to be upgraded and can be paid for through the River District Fund. The River District Fund is the old amphitheater fund. And so that's what it was built for, to make the type of operation and maintenance investments into our assets so that the general fund never has to take on that responsibility. We're also excited, and I know K-Day briefed you on this back in November, I believe the November, I want to say 21st or 23rd Projects Committee, regarding the proposed 10-year plan for the Mercedes-Benz Amphitheater. And we're recommending that we move forward with Phase 1. Phase 1 includes a new VIP club on the east side. Currently, the VIP club is on the west side of the amphitheater. The VIP Club is extremely popular because of the amount of sponsorships and box sales of people investing into the amphitheater itself. We just need more room. We are literally out of space, which is a great problem to have. The second thing that by doing this it does, it allows us to create where the VIP Club is today, where the City Club is today, 4 new dressing rooms, a new production office space, and a new office space for a tour manager, and also production space. So it gives us the ability to reprogram additional space and move the trailers off the amphitheater. So we would certainly recommend that we move forward with this. The amphitheater is a quality of life project, it's an arts project, but it's also an economic development tool. And as we know, we have to, we want to draw more than just the Partridge Boys, right? So, we want to keep investing into this facility because we have very good competition from Huntsville and from Birmingham, but nothing beats Tuscaloosa. And this Mercedes-Benz amphitheater can continue to outperform anybody in any class, anywhere with these type of investments. We're also proud to recommend to you a park that certainly recognizes the rich civil rights history in Tuscaloosa. Back in 2020, really during the midst of COVID, we came to the city council and asked if the city would be willing to purchase the Lynn Barbershop from the family of Pastor Lynn. I know at the time that probably wasn't the easiest decision, but we all knew the amount of rich civil rights history that was in that barbershop and the role that Pastor Lynn and people like Maxie Thomas and so many people in our community played to ensure equal rights to everyone. Since that time, we have been searching with the Tuscaloosa Civil Rights Foundation of what could we do with that site that not only honors Pastor Linton and all of our civil rights warriors in Tuscaloosa, but can draw people in and gain their own inspiration through that. And so what you see here is a recommendation of $1 million for the Lynn Barbershop Tuscaloosa Civil Rights History Trail Park. We have a conceptual design that you see in front of you. We will continue to work with our partners, but we think this can be an outstanding place to celebrate our civil rights history. And there is another part of this that I think gets lost. There's the economic development part of this. Alabama has a rich civil rights tourism history. And right now, for the most part, that history revolves around Birmingham, Selma, Montgomery. We think Tuscaloosa could be part of that geographical space. Certainly between George Wallace's stand in Schoolhouse Door to the bravery of people like Pastor Lynn and others to the events, the tragic events of Bloody Tuesday. There's a story to be told about the courage of so many of our community and this community's willingness to move forward. And we think this can be one of the flagship places as part of that. So we're excited about this partnership with the Tuscaloosa Civil Rights History Foundation, and we look forward to providing you more details on this project. The next project that we think is important is a neighborhood investment of $2.5 million to the Burrell Odom Park. I know that Pastor Wilson and I have been working with the entire, when I say the entire community, it feels like the entire community that surrounds this park. Even Mr. Fell joined us one day for a walk around out at Burrell Odom Park. There are nearly 200 school children that live in walking distance of this park. Think about that, 200 school children that live within walking distance of this park. This is a heavily utilized park that needs a significant amount of strategic investment. So what you see here is a plan that certainly we think in working with our neighbors that can achieve, working with the neighbors that can achieve this. It will also include all of our customary lighting and cyber intelligence. So not only is it well lit and it's a lot of fun, but it's safe and that parents can feel safe. And so we believe that, and we hope that the council will move forward with this project. The next, in a similar vein, is Springbrook Park. The staff gets tired of me, our team members get tired of me saying this, but when I was born, for the first years of my life, I lived at 110 Springbrook, right there. And so right across the street. And as I've told y'all a dozen times, I played in the sand traps. I was telling the team yesterday, I remember playing war out there in those sand traps, throwing pine cones as hand grenades. Mr. Busby would have been proud of me. This is a great neighborhood. Springbrook is one of the great neighborhoods in Tuscaloosa. This has been a neighborhood park for as long as I can remember, but like Burrell Odom Park, it needs an investment. The other thing that it certainly needs is what we do today, and that's the lighting and cyber technology that comes with it. I try to put myself in the shoes of any parent. Could I let my child go out there, play, and feel safe? That has to be the standard of every new park that we build going forward. And you see that at Burrell Odom Park, and you see that at Springbrook Park, and as long as the people will have me, you're going to see that moving forward. The city will take over the maintenance of both Burrell Odom Park and Springbrook Park as part of Elevate when those projects, if adopted by the council, and when those projects are complete. Another project or program that certainly I know is important to Ms. Howard is a facade improvement program. The city has done this in the past, and I would encourage the council, when it has its individual hearing on this, it asks Mr. Howell from CNS, who oversaw the last facade improvement program, to join you. It's an opportunity to assist small business owners with a bent towards underserved areas to be able to improve their business space, so hopefully they can be successful. We look forward to sharing with you in more detail our plans for that and why we think it can be important. And again, I know this is something that's very, very important to Ms. Howard. So last section we want to go through is just some partnerships. Success is never done in isolation, never. Whether it's an amazing team that I work with every day that gives me the ability to stand before you and present the recommendations, or whether it's our community partners, our success is predicated on the partnerships of others. And so when we talk about pickleball, as we talked about at Bowers Park, there's some opportunities for partnerships with Tuscaloosa County. In particular, we think, so this, by the way, before I go into the partnerships, the $1.25 million would cover both sites I'm about to mention. First is at the Buddy Powell Pavilion off of Northridge Road. I know we've been working with Mr. Crow on this project. The city and county would like to partner on building several pickleball courts, I believe 12 pickleball courts at that site. Again, it would have our full lighting and camera package. Tuscaloosa County would provide site work and also an investment of general fund dollars as well to ensure the parks are built to the pickleball courts are built to the highest standards. We would ask that this project, as soon as the council feels comfortable with it, get moving quickly so we can begin going to work. I know Commissioner Acker is very anxious to get to work on this project as well. Para is going to operate and manage those pickleball courts. So once it is built, once we make the capital outlay, Para then will take over the operation and maintenance of it. Next is a partnership with the YMCA. I know that Councilor Busby is very aware of this and has been working on this project. We are recommending, as part of the $1.2 million, the construction of 2 additional pickleball courts at the downtown YMCA on the west side of the property. Those 2 courts would be, ultimately, once the city builds those courts will be operated and maintained by the YMCA. So by my count, if you adopt this budget, we're adding somewhere in the neighborhood of 37 pickleball courts across Tuscaloosa at the highest quality, with the highest lighting standards, camera standards, and being managed by Para and YMCA, who have a long history of outstanding work. So I do think we will be making huge strides in that area. We're also recommending $250,000 towards the library for capital improvements. As you're well aware, last year you appropriated $1.1 million for improvements to the roof at the library. They have since discovered some issues with carpeting and shelving. They've approached Judge Robertson, who approached me, and discussed would the city be willing to partner with them, with the county, on ensuring that all those needed repairs get done. I assured him I know the council feels that way. The number in the end may not be 250. That is the high end of the number. Judge Robertson initially requested 150. I put 250 as kind of that placeholder there. Certainly, we look forward to getting the exact details from the Tuscaloosa County Public Library before moving forward with it. But certainly, that's a relatively small capital investment for a library that does so many good things for the people of Tuscaloosa County. We're recommending $250,000 in improvements at Palmore Park. In conversations with the executive director of PARA, he believes there's about $400,000 worth of needed improvements. Historically, the city and county have split, like at Bowers and Sokol Park. The city and county have normally divided those costs up. I know that Mr. Wilson is working with Commissioner Murray on that. Again, another partnership between Tuscaloosa County and PARA. So I'm recommending that we move forward with $250,000 and then work with the county on the remainder to make those needed improvements at Palmore Park. The last recommendation we have for you doesn't necessarily involve the appropriation of dollars, but something that I think is important, and that's the timeline. We are now ready to announce the official timeline for the Saban Center, but I do want to highlight something. This council, about 3 years ago, made the very bold decision to move forward with an immersive science, technology, engineering, math, and performing arts center for children. That was an amazing and bold step that you took, and it took a lot of courage on your behalf to do it. We did it knowing that we would have partners, but nothing was there in writing except the damn good word of Coach and Terry Saban. And boy, have they delivered. Not only did they deliver on the football field, they delivered for the Saban Center. So as of today, we have, in terms of commitments, written commitments, $15 million in private donations towards the capital cost of the Saban Center. And plus, thanks to Governor Ivey, Lieutenant Governor Ainsworth, and the Alabama legislature, $25 million in capital from the state of Alabama. So this center certainly reflects a partnership that is second to none. The only drawback to that partnership, especially the $25 million from the state of Alabama, it required us to pause and redesign, because here's the good news. This is not only going to apply to roughly the 30,000 school-age students in Tuscaloosa County, this will encompass 168,000 students in a 1-hour drive of Tuscaloosa. So it required a little bit of redesign. So with that being said, design should be complete by January of 25. We anticipate a groundbreaking in April of 25 with the goal of opening up in June of 27. We are excited about this groundbreaking project. There is nothing like this across the nation. There's pieces of it here, pieces of it there, but nothing that is totally integrated into the K-12 curriculum and nothing that can meet the needs of workforce and our children in Alabama today. So we're excited about it, and I thank you for your bold leadership and courage in making it happen. The last thing that I have for you before I'll be happy to answer any questions is the schedule. Councilor Busby has been working with Ms. Standridge and her team on a hearing schedule. On Thursday, May 9th, from 1 to 2 p.m., the council will discuss the surplus calculation. From 2 to 4, the general fund RFFI and other general fund revenue sources. On Thursday, May 16th, the council will discuss the water and sewer projects, and then 2:30 to 4 p.m., the drainage and infrastructure projects. Then on Thursday, May 23rd, the Elevate projects from 1 to 3, followed by a wrap-up. The goal would be to have a finance committee vote on June 4th. And Mr. Busby, I said goal. If you want to go earlier, there is absolutely nothing wrong with that. With the council adoption on June 11th. So Mr. Busby knows I give him a hard time. So with that being said, I will be happy to answer any questions that you may have. I know that you will likely want to get into more detail at the individual hearings, but certainly we can answer any questions for you at this moment.
Thank you, Mayor. Appreciate it. Appreciate y'all being here. Is Ms. Gilliland back there?
No, she's in the office.
Okay. Would somebody ask her to get us some copies so we can put our notes and questions and thoughts on there? And Ms. Standridge, you sent me the proposed or tentative hearing schedule last week. Now I have seen the budget proposal, And so I will be back with you and we'll make any adjustments we need to. Mayor, I think the good news is we will try as a finance committee to move these, for those which there seems to be wholehearted approval, we'll try to move these out quickly. If there's pockets of resistance, we'll decide how to deal with those and take them on as they come. And I think we all agreed before, we're in listening mode today. And as you present this, I only have one question, and it is not a 10,000-foot level or a 30,000-foot, but a 50,000-foot level. And it should be relatively short. But in developing this capital budgets proposal, what did you consider the 2 or 3 or 4 most pressing priorities for capital funding for the city?
I think first is paying off the debt for Fire Station 4. Again, our financial plan in the conversion into RSA requires us to roll off a series of debt issuances by fiscal year 27. So removing that off ensures that our plan will work and it will work for RSA conversion. 2, I think the second thing is paving. I don't think you can pave enough roads. And the cost of paving is extraordinary. You saw the Jack Warner Parkway paving. I think that's less than a half mile. It's $650,000. It just goes to show you that paving is certainly a costly endeavor. The third is I do think we have some very meaningful investments in drainage, but I don't know if you can, like paving, I don't know if you can ever invest enough in drainage. And I think something that we know as a team we would like to continue to have with the council is the discussion on more of what we call the aspirational drainage projects that are out there, like at 10th Avenue. I imagine Eastover will be one, the YMCA drainage basin, and likely several others are ones that we will have to look at a little bit differently because, for example, the entire $21 million transfer might pay for the YMCA drainage project. You wouldn't be able to do anything else. That just goes to show you that we're going to have to look at those projects different. And on the water and sewer side, the 24, getting that out the door is important. I can't say enough about Ms. Michael and her team. They have been extraordinary. And we see it from AMI to the northern water and sewer line expansion and everything in between. They are rocking and rolling at a high level, and they have shown us they are worthy of our continued trust and commitment.
All right, thank you very much. Do any of the Finance Committee members have any comments or questions?
All right, thank you, sir.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you,
All right.
Mr. Mayor.
Is there any other business to be brought before the Finance Committee? If not, is there a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor say aye.